To the Black community, I want you to know that I stand in solidarity with you, and I hope to hear from more white people that feel the same way I do. Look, we fucked up. White people fucked this election up big time. The Black community, to the vast majority, understood the assignment, and white people, just like always, came in and fucked this thing sideways. And when you look at all the things that Donald Trump has been peeling back, it is extremely, extremely concerning what he has done in just a few short days. And I saw a few Black creators on this app say, it's up to the white people now. Like, white people are the ones who, we're not going to be affected by Donald Trump stuff. He's going to work to make our lives better at the expense of making everybody else's life worse. And I hope there are enough white people out there that feel like me that is not acceptable. That is not acceptable. We have to say something. We have to do something. We have to use our voices in a positive way to combat Donald Trump and all of his draconian policies that are going to send us back into the Stone Age. He is going to get rid and demote every single race. The Black community knew this. The Black community has always known this. But so many white people didn't want to listen. And now here we are. So if you voted for Donald Trump as a white person, or you didn't vote at all, shame on you. Everything that you are going to see, everybody's life who is affected negatively by this presidency, everybody who is going to lose rights that they have had for decades and decades and decades are now being stripped away, can be denied employment, rolling back DEI, all these things. Shame on white people. I voted for Kamala Harris. I've been speaking out for 6 months on this platform, and I'm going to continue to do that against Donald Trump for the next 4 years. But I'm sorry. I don't know what else to say. I'm sorry. We fucked up. So, to the Black community, I am with you, and I hope there are enough people out there like me that are willing to stand by your side and work to move forward.
There's a group of people out here that can literally change the world, but they have every right to not to want to. And that is the Black community. Because they do have more power than the white people. If they were to find their power and took leadership, they'll make some positive changes. But because our world is so racist and so masculine, and there's no femininity in that area as well, that's why we are living the bullshit life we were living. And they have every right to watch the show and not do a thing, because they told us, we ignored them, and now the whites are really the ones that are fucking around and finding out, because they told us many years about everything that we're living in, and they have every right to watch the show and watch us struggle. They don't need to do anything, because they tried. But because people are so ignorant, racist, and think they're better. So here we are.
One interesting thing that really kind of gets to me is when I see palm people coming out and saying such statements like, as Black community, you have every right to be mad at us. We did this to ourselves and all that, and you guys are strong. It makes you question, like, do they really mean this? Like, if it was something they did and it was in their favor, would they come out and say these same statements? And not to say that all of them are evil or bad. Like, guys, I always tell you I have white friends and all that. Not to excuse, like the way white people are like, oh, I have a Black friend or whatever. No, but I'm just saying, it's kind of interesting seeing that they are reaching a point where they are realizing, like, oh wait, we actually voted over or against our interest, and the fact that we are now the ones that are struggling, it's kind of hard for them to like really get it in, because they vote to have this man in power because they thought he was going to do things that are going to hurt majority, especially black people. And then looking into it, they're the ones that are not used to struggling. Like I say, they are used to privilege and getting, things done for them. But now in a time where they can't even access food, it's expensive, they can't afford to live. I say the planes are crashing in the air. That is scary. They can't afford to live life now. Like everything is a mess. They are freaking out. They are freaking out. And I kind of like it when I see them come out and, talk about the reality of what they are actually seeing, because this is a wake-up call for them to see that, just because you look like that, it doesn't mean that when these things are put in place, you're not going to get affected. Actually, you're going to get more affected because you are not used to struggling, and now you have to do it like 3-4 times harder than the people that have been doing or going through the same things that you are actually just starting to go through. And then I landed on a video of a black sister that was like, is it even worth it to be like wanting to work with these people, because they always do the most to betray us. I mean, they've always done the most to us, making us stay in the back of everything. So it's like really concerning for us now to just like forget everything and just like push over and work with these people. Guys, listen to what she had to say, and let me know your thoughts on it.
I don't have the vocabulary right now to fully articulate this and say this the way that I want to, but it's getting very difficult right now with everything that's going on in the States to be in community with white people. And I say this as someone who, like, from the time I was born has been facing violent levels of racism my entire life across communities as well. Like, we don't even need to bring up how there's zero POC solidarity, and that was shown during this election. So I'm gonna sit this one out. Sorry, I'm like vacationing in Mexico right now, but I cannot stop paying attention to what's going on. And I just have to say, at what point exactly are we allowed to say, are we allowed to create some level of distance between interacting and being in community with these people? I actually think it's deranged that at no point in time during everything that's happened, whether it was the Civil Rights Act or continuously voting for Trump or like the generations of racial trauma that has happened, we are expected to have and hold community with white people. Even being here in like Mexico, I'm like traveling a lot with a ton of travelers, and like the way people interact with me, I don't wake up in the morning and think to myself, I'm a black woman. I'm constantly reminded of this by the way that people interact with me. My last job position that I just quit and like moved, which gave me like an amazing opportunity because now I'm moving to New York in like a great role. My immigration, my citizenship was questioned. I was told to go back to my country several different times, like by white people. And I'm always expected to hold this mentality of being open to any and everyone. But like the world doesn't even give us that level of grace. I've been watching like The Real Housewives for some weird reason. Listen, it's just been like my shitty trash reality TV vice. And like even seeing the way that black characters on that show are constantly treated, or like the way that colorism affects different members of that franchise. Like, I don't have the words to properly articulate this right now. I'm just word vomiting, but like at what point do I say like, actually, I do not want to know you. I do not want to be friends with you, because if I said it once, I said it 100 times. If it's not them as a white person, it's someone in their circle, it's a friend that they know, it's their boyfriend, it's their mom, and at the end of the day, that is their tribe. So they will let you face passive aggressive, racist ass abuse. I have like out-accomplished so many of these people's like white parents' children, and they still have the nerve to question my accomplishments, my credibility, my walk in life simply because of the color of my skin, when their child is still living in their home degreeless and jobless, all because of the color of my skin. Like, at what point do I say, I no longer want to talk to you, I no longer want to be in community with you? I think what's more damaging, or like what's worse, is actually the level of gaslighting, because they will throw all these dog whistles at you and then sit there and be like, well, God, I was just asking a question, or no, you're not actually facing racism. They're like, I want us to acknowledge the covert narcissism that goes into every single day racism, and it happens in blue states. Like, there's no safety for you. You cannot run away from it. Like, I think one of the most damning things about turning 24 in October last year was that no matter where I go or what I do, I cannot run away from being black. And it is not a demonizing thing. It's not a demonizing quality. It just gives people some level of like superiority to bring you down, and they find solace and community in doing it. And I remember like I was in a blue state, like I moved to Seattle, Washington for a little bit. PNW like racism is so weird because it's very covert, and they think just living in a blue state like absolves them of any type of racial accountability. But the first time in years that I've been called an N-word with a hard R was there. I'm actually like simply exhausted, and I continuously ask myself, like, how much more am I supposed to tolerate before I get to a point where I say, actually, 3 years ago, someone walked into a grocery store and live streamed themselves shooting only the black people and released a manifesto about it. Someone walked into a black church and shot them up and released a manifesto about it. There's sundown towns that still exist. There's violent levels of racism that if you look up the pyramid of harm or the hierarchy of harm, always starts off at little black kids being targeted in school by racist ass discrimination and jokes that even the teachers facilitate and allow to happen. Like, at what point? I think being black is just like the lack of protection at every cornerstone of your life. Like, that is what you're facing. And at some point, like, I think at this point, I'm doing my absolute fucking best. Not even anymore. I'm like about ready to give up, but I'm doing my absolute best to not get to a point where I throw my hands up in the air and say, I do not want to be in community with you. Last thing. I've been seeing people like who've been part of the election, like even on LinkedIn, on posts, like they're like, guys, you know, you need to accept ideologies from across the political spectrum. I want those people to choke on a dick. That I'm not even gonna like go further than that.
I kind of tried to get where the sister was coming from. Like, it's really exhausting being in a place, in a world where everywhere you go, people just look at your skin and you are like literally immediately demonized. Guys, I always tell you about when I went to Dubai and I was kicked out of a house because of how I look like, and everyone that went inside that didn't look like me was accepted, and I was kicked out. That really triggered me, and I still remember it till this day. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe that actually happened to me. And imagine living in a society like, say, like in the US, where you're constantly reminded of how different you are just because of your face, your skin, or whatever. It's just exhausting. And so when I see why people come out and they're like, you know, black community, you are strong, you are all this, you know everything, if you get into power you could do better. I'm like, I think you could do better than that, than just coming and talking about that. I think there's a lot of things that you have to do for now for the black community to really accept your words as a PAM person, because of the things that are really actually going on. And in 2025, the fact that you still chose a person that clearly showed you that he does not want to see people that look like me in his face, in his country, that really speaks volumes. So it leaves you questioning and wondering, like, do these people really even mean this, or they just also come on the internet and, you know, use, like, you know, black community and all that to get like views and all that. And not saying that they are not good people that are pammed. They exist, they do exist, but it's like, how do you even spot the right one in a way? It's not funny, guys, it's not funny, but like listening to that sister, like, she looks like she's in a lot of pain when it comes to PAM people and what they've done to her, and it's really like sad. It's really sad, but overall I'm really enjoying that, you know, these people are going through what they actually wanted, and it's gonna go for a very long time. I mean, 4 years is not that long, but but by the time they'll be, you know, done with those 4 years, they would have felt it. They would have felt it. Everything is backfiring. They are getting, you know, they are getting fired from places. They are losing their jobs. They don't have workers. They don't have food. They can't access things. Everything is expensive. They can't live. Like, it's kind of fun to see them go through like these things because they wanted it. And not to say that even if it was the other way around, like the other person would not do things for the interest of the US. Yes, they would, but at least there would be some kind of leniency in a way, you know. And it's really interesting times that, you know, these people are realizing that they effed up and they're facing the consequences of their reality. That is actually interesting. Who knew would ever see or witness this? Like, that is something to keep. And this year is going to be like hectic because more and more things are unfolding every single day. Like, everything is going down unexpectedly and they just can't believe it. They expected every pain to be on one side. The black people but everything is just like in their face. Everything is just like in their face, and they can't stand it. They can't believe it. I actually appreciate when they come out and talk about the truth of what it is, or literally call out their own, because I mean, I like saying that. And when I tell you that when they speak, their people listen and they give ear, so I kind of mostly like when I see this. But yeah, let me know what you think about it. Like, do you believe them when they come out and say these things? Do you accept them? Are you willing to accept them? Do you still want to be in their community and want them to work with you? Or you're just like done? You're like, enough is enough, guys. That is it for me in the video. Let me know what you think about this. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in another video. Bye.